When the judge asked who wanted custody of me, my mother raised her hand immediately. My father didn't. I sat there, frozen, 10 years old, waiting for him to fight, but he just sat there, silent, not a single word. That was the day I decided I hated him. I don't remember much about him before that, just his voice at night, his hand on my shoulder, him leaving in the dark. My mother made sure I understood what it meant. "Your father abandoned us," she whispered. "He never wanted you anyway." I believed her because it was easier than believing anything else. By 19, I'd built a life without him. Then my mother got drunk and said, "Your father was involved in things, dangerous things." I found her burner phone, 23 missed calls from a blocked number. I called it back. A man answered. "Don't," he said. That was all. I hung up. That night, I found a photograph hidden in her makeup bag, my mother and a man I'd never seen before, both of them in a hotel room, both of them looking like they were carrying secrets that could end the world. On the back, my father's handwriting. "This is what we agreed to." My mother came home and found me holding it. Her face went white. She didn't try to lie this time. She just took it and burned it. 3 days later, a man appeared in my life. Mid-50s, expensive suit. Miguel. He was waiting in my building's lobby. "Your mother is in danger," he said. "You need to come with me." I went. My mother was there, unharmed but terrified. Ricardo Fuentes stepped out of the shadows. "Your father made a promise to me," Ricardo said, "a very long time ago, and he's breaking it." He showed me documents, ledgers, years of theft. "Your father tried to steal from me," Ricardo said, "so I made him a deal. Give up custody of your son or I'll kill him." My mother wouldn't look at me. "He agreed immediately," Ricardo said. The words landed like a punch. "That's not why," I said, but I didn't know anymore. Alejandro Salazar walked into the warehouse. When I saw him, something in my face recognized him, even though I'd never seen him before. "Hello, Daniel," he said. "I'm your biological father." The room tilted. "Your mother and I had a relationship," he said calmly. "When she became pregnant, she wanted to disappear. I made her a deal. I would let you raise you, but I would watch you grow up." He smiled. "Your father found out about you. I told him the arrangement. He agreed to disappear so that you would never feel obligated to me." I looked at my mother. She was crying. "I tried to protect you," she whispered. Alejandro's men locked my mother and me in a back room. Through the walls, I heard voices, negotiations, the sound of violence. My mother grabbed my hand. "Your father tried to steal from Ricardo so he could buy your freedom. He's been working for Alejandro the entire time, secretly building leverage to keep you away from him. Did you know?" "Yes," she said. "That's why I gave him up. That's why I made you hate him, because Alejandro would have used you to control him. The only way to keep you safe was to make sure he had nothing left to lose." She looked at me with eyes full of desperation. "I know you hate me," she said. "I know I'm the villain in your story, but I did it so you could have a life." The door opened. My father walked in. He moved like someone who'd been planning this for 15 years. "We have maybe 5 minutes," he said. He didn't look at my mother, he looked at me. "Alejandro told you the truth about who he is," my father said. "Now I'm going to tell you the truth about why I gave you up." "When you were born," my father said, "I discovered something. A man came to the hospital. He looked at you through the window of the nursery, and he decided something right there." He sat down. "He decided that you were going to be important to him, that he was going to watch you grow up and see if you would become like him." My mother gripped my hand tighter. "That man was Alejandro," my father said, "your biological father, and he told me that if I gave you to your mother, if I made myself legally invisible, then he would protect you. He would wait until you were old enough to choose." "Choose what?" I asked. "Whether to become him,
my father said, whether to accept what he was offering you. He looked at me directly. I agreed to the arrangement, he said, not because I had to, because I realized it was the only way to give you something more valuable than a father's name. He paused. I gave you the illusion of freedom. Before I could respond, Alejandro's men entered. There was shouting, movement, the kind of violence that happens too fast to fully comprehend. My father stood in front of me and my mother. Run, he said to her, get Daniel out of here. My mother pulled me through the darkness of the warehouse, through a fire exit, into an alley. Behind us there was silence. He's dead, my mother whispered. Her voice was hollow. He's dead, and it's my fault. Alejandro took me to his office. He never explained what happened to my father. He just said he chose to sacrifice himself. That's what men do when they love someone more than they love themselves. I spent the next 3 months working for him, learning the business, learning how money moved, learning how to become useful to an empire built on fear. My mother disappeared. Alejandro said she was in hiding, afraid of being discovered by people who wanted revenge on my father. I didn't try to find her. I was too busy trying to survive.
3 months into working for Alejandro, I found something. A pattern in the accounts. Money moving in ways that didn't make sense. Withdrawals that appeared to be losses but were actually transfers. Funds disappearing from Alejandro's empire and reappearing in accounts that were being dismantled. Someone was methodically destroying what Alejandro had built. Someone who understood the system well enough to take it apart from the inside. Someone who'd had access for years. I pulled the records back further. The pattern started exactly 3 months ago, the night my father died. I went to Alejandro with the discovery. Someone is destroying your operation, I said, moving money, shutting down operations, building cases against your people. Alejandro looked at the documents for a very long time. Your father, he said quietly. That's impossible. He's dead. Is he? Alejandro asked. Or did I just let you believe that? He walked to the window. Your father is very intelligent, Alejandro said. He knew that if I believed he was dead, I would stop hunting him. He knew that I would assume the threat was over, and he knew that you would stop trying to find him. He turned around. He's been taking apart my empire piece by piece, Alejandro said, and I've been letting him do it because I wanted to see how long it would take you to figure out the truth. The truth about what? About who you really should choose, Alejandro said. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello, Daniel, my father said. His voice was exactly as I remembered it. You're alive. Yes, he said. I've been alive the entire time. I've been 3 steps ahead of Alejandro since the moment I walked into that warehouse. I couldn't speak. I need you to do something, my father said. I need you to trust me one more time. I need you to bring Alejandro to the location I'm about to text you. Why? Because, my father said, it's time for all of this to end, and the only person who can end it is you. The location was an old building in the industrial district. Alejandro came with me, curious and unafraid. Inside was a room filled with documents, financial records, evidence of every crime Alejandro had ever committed. And my mother was there, alive and waiting. Hello, Alejandro, she said. She wasn't afraid. My father stepped out of the shadows. He looked older, harder, but alive. You lied to me, I said to him, about all of it. You let me believe you were dead. I did. I had to. Why? Because if you knew I was alive, Alejandro would have used you to find me, my father said, and because I needed you to understand what it means to be complicit in his world. I needed you to feel what it's like to work for him. He looked at Alejandro. This man, my father said, will always be your biological father, but he will never be your family. He will always be the man who watches you to understand himself. He will never love you. Alejandro smiled. "And you love him?" Alejandro asked. "I do," my father said. "More than I love myself, more than I love my own freedom, more than I love anything." He looked at me. "That's why I gave you up," he said. "That's why I let you hate me. That's why I've been destroying everything you've built, Alejandro, because I would rather die than let my son become like you." Alejandro pulled a gun. "So now," he said, "Daniel has to choose. He can come with me and I'll let both of you live, or he can stay with his father and I'll kill you both." My mother stepped forward. "There's a third option," she said. She held up a phone. On the screen was a video. It showed everything. Every crime, every transaction, every murder Alejandro had orchestrated. "I've been recording," my mother said, "since the day of the custody hearing, since the day I agreed to this arrangement. I've been documenting everything so that when the moment came, we could destroy you." Alejandro's face changed. "You've destroyed yourself," my mother said. "The moment you decided to watch my son instead of protect him, the moment you thought love was a weakness." She hit send on the video. "That's being delivered to authorities right now," she said. "To journalists, to rivals who would pay for this information, to everyone who needs to know what you are." She looked at me. "I know I'm the villain in your story," she said. "I know I betrayed your father. I know I let you hate me, but I did it so we could all survive this." Alejandro lowered his gun. He understood then what had happened. He'd been outmaneuvered by two people who loved their son more than they loved themselves. I stood between my two fathers. The one who raised me was bleeding from a wound in his shoulder, standing in front of me like a shield. The one who created me was standing completely alone, his empire crumbling in real time, understanding for the first time what it meant to be powerless. "I'm sorry," my father said to me, "for all of it, for the silence in the courtroom, for the years of absence, for making you hate me. I'm sorry for every moment you spent feeling abandoned. Why did you do it? Why did you really give me up?" My father looked at my mother. She stepped forward and took my hand. "Because we both loved you," she said, "and we both understood something that Alejandro never will." She looked at my father. "Love isn't about being present," she said. "Love is about sacrifice. Love is about choosing your child's freedom over your own happiness." My father nodded. "I gave up custody," he said, "because I wanted you to have a life that wasn't defined by me, a life where you could choose who you wanted to become instead of becoming what I was." He looked at the man who'd created me. "And you," my father said to Alejandro, "will never understand that, because power requires you to consume everything around you. Power requires you to see people as assets instead of as human beings." He turned back to me. "I love you," my father said, "and because I love you, I'm letting you make your own choice about what happens next." I didn't go with either of them that night. I went to a hospital, got my father's wound treated, sat with my mother in a waiting room and heard her explain everything. How she'd been Alejandro's lover before she met my father, how she'd gotten pregnant and wanted to escape, how Alejandro had made her a deal. She could keep the child, but he would watch. How my father had discovered the truth and decided to become invisible instead of letting Alejandro use their family as leverage. How she'd played the villain for 19 years so that I would grow up separate from both of them. How she'd betrayed my father not to destroy him, but to protect me from him. "I made myself the villain," she said, "so that you could have a hero to believe in, so that you could believe that at least one of your parents was trying to protect you." "You both were," I said. "Yes," she said, "but you couldn't know that. Because if you knew the truth about both of us, you would have felt obligated to choose between us. You would have felt the weight of our love, and that weight would have destroyed you. Years later, I understood why the custody hearing happened the way it did. It wasn't about my father being weak. It wasn't about my mother being cruel. It was about two people who loved a child more than they loved themselves, making impossible decisions in an impossible situation. My father gave up custody so that I would never feel obligated to him. My mother became the villain so that I would never need to rescue him. Alejandro watched from the shadows, waiting to see if the love between my parents would be stronger than the love for themselves. It was. I understand now why my father sat silently in that courtroom. It wasn't because he didn't want me. It was because he wanted me so much that he was willing to destroy himself to give me freedom. That's the difference between a father's love and a mother's love. A mother's love is the love that appears, the love that feeds you and holds you and tells you that you're safe. A father's love is the love that disappears, the love that tears itself apart so that you never have to feel the weight of obligation. And my father, the man who raised me, the man who was never my biological father, he loved me so much that he was willing to let me hate him. For 19 years, without asking for forgiveness, without asking for recognition. Just silently, from the shadows, building leverage to keep me safe. That was his love. And now I finally understand why he never said a word in that courtroom. Because love that's real is the kind that doesn't need to explain itself.